Today is Sunday, May 10th, 2026. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 50, Week 11.
Oh my goodness, Week 11. We do two shows. We do a recap on Wednesday and then the listener feedback show on, well, this week it's on Sunday. We had a big family event to go to yesterday and we got back. What did I do?
You said on the way home, no candy.
Oh, well, yeah.
You came back, sat down, ate some leftover food, and promptly went to
Fell asleep. Yeah.
Yes.
It was the right call.
Yes, it was.
The data backs it up.
And Mama said, when we got in the car, she said, "Are you hurting?" And I said, "No, I'm fine, Mama." And she said, "Well, then why are you groaning?" I was like, "Oh, was I?" Yeah. I thought, well, my back hurts, but, it usually hurts. And I've been standing for hours and, running around this, that, and the other. So
it was a good event. I'm glad we were able to do that. And
yes.
It was good to see her hold court. So
Mama is the last of her 8 siblings, and everyone there honors her. Mm-hmm. And she sets off memories for everyone of their mothers, their grandmothers for the younger ones. And so it's kind of a joy just to see some of them who have lost their parents just light up to see Mama. Mm-hmm. And so that makes me happy.
Yep, it was a very nice day.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got to give the super fans a chance to weigh in on this last episode and this double elimination. Oh, the tragedy or the joy, I guess, depending on where you're coming from on that perspective. But I'm anxious to get started. Is there any business we need to cover beforehand? Anything we need to mention? We'll have a GSFL update at the end of this.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, because the scores get complicated when there's doubles and we don't know.
That's
when
all
we can't
Steve.
plan for them. Yeah, so he's taking care of it.
I can't score that. So.
Yeah, and just in case you hadn't had a chance to check it yourself, we'll go through and give a quick little update about it at the end. I think that's all we got for business, though, right? Ready to jump in?
That's it. Let's go.
First up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker, Indiana, and while I typically dislike when they split into groups at the merge, this episode I still really enjoyed. I don't think it's results-oriented per se. I just think that it was a very fun and entertaining episode despite the twist. Honestly, another top-tier episode in this season. We had a little slump there, but the season is back. It's very much like last week was great, this week was great, and it's really gearing up for a very interesting finish here, but this episode was fantastic. And even with the nightmare scenario that we almost got, where it was almost a 1-2 punch of Sari and Ozzy getting voted out tonight, the two legends left in the game going in the same episode because of a stupid twist, like that would have been terrible, but it also was so compelling and so fun, and there was so much happening that I wouldn't have been even that mad about it. This cast is so good. The people that are left, I love them. I love Rick Devens so much. He is bringing joy every week. Emily Flippin, let's pour one out. She was chaotic and messy and made everybody mad, but I loved it. And then Sari is obviously incredible, and really watching her try to save Ozzy from the other side of the island was chef's kiss. It was amazing. It was fantastic. And the poetic irony of the fact that that she blindsided Ozzy with an idol in his pocket back in the day, and now she's doing everything she can to prevent that from happening, and she just couldn't. It's so poetic. I love it, but she's incredible. And Jonathan is actually playing a really good game. I know internet fan base hates Jonathan, except for like the Facebook people. And you know what? He's not always my cup of tea, but he's playing a really good game, and I could see a scenario where he wins this season. Joe, I'm not gonna lie, I love Grumpy Joe. I think it's hilarious. I love how annoyed he is with Rick Devens. Yes, it's stupid, whatever, but I think it's super funny. Aubrey is amazing. She started rough, but she is amazing here. Tiffany started invisible and is also amazing here. And she's really become another right-handed person for Suri. Speaking of, we have Rizzo, who makes the right move here to not try to save Ozzy and just let him go home because Ozzy sunk his ship. He just, that word vomit, and essentially voted himself out. It was crazy. Amazing episode. It was impeccable. I love the end game that we're setting up here. Yes, I wish that some of my other favorites were still in the game. Whatever. I can't be mad. I can't complain because we're getting peak Survivor right now, okay? I think this is great. All right, that's all I got. I will see you all next time.
I love that. Peak Survivor.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely. There's a great extra scene with Jonathan this week. It'll be linked in the show notes. And he's just bouncing back and forth between the two tiny tribes, eating all their rice.
Yeah.
And drinking the coconut milk. And
what are they going to say to him? He's got a vote at each tribal.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to say anything, but they're like...
They were noticing.
Oh, yeah. Well, they could not. Mm-hmm. He was just very out there about it. Hey, I'm walking back and forth. I need to eat.
Yeah, need some power there.
And he wasn't eating little bits either.
Right.
He was loving it, but it was kind of cute. So
good deal. Thanks, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Pat.
Hey, Joy and Stacy. This is Pat calling from Oklahoma this afternoon. I wanted to say this episode was probably my least favorite of the season. There were several things in it that I just didn't really care for or thought other things could have been done instead. So number one, I didn't like the tribes being divided up into two tiny teams again. I know, I guess it was stressful and maybe entertaining, but personally, I just want them to play. I like having them in one big group. And other things I didn't like, Ozzy's family letter reading. Like, I'm not a big fan of the family letter episodes anyways, but this time it's like we had almost back-to-back family letter episodes. I didn't really care for that. And then the whole Rick dancing montage, I thought that was a waste of time showing that. The only way I would have liked it is if it would have been put to some cheesy 80s music that we all loved watching, and then the other thing I didn't like. So I like Joe, and, I know he's a hypocrite on his truthfulness and whatever he spews, but for him to call Rick despicable or whatever and how he played, it's like, I don't get that. I don't understand that at all. So I didn't like that. I wish they would have used that day to just have a reward challenge. Didn't have to be crazy hard. Couldn't have been anything. I love challenges. That's my favorite part of Survivor. And I really thought they missed out on just taking that day and having a reward challenge. Instead of showing Ozzy crying and Rick dancing and Joe just being miserable hypocrites. It's like, let's let them do something fun. Have a reward challenge or something. And then I couldn't believe Ozzy not playing his idol. I mean, of course, we're not out there and we don't know exactly what he's thinking, but come on, dude, play your idol, especially after a dream. How much more can you be beaten over the head than to have a dream about not playing your idol and you going home? And then Emily got sent home. Finally, she probably should have went home a little while ago. And of course, even with the double vote out, I still did not get one person right on my JSFL. I honestly don't think I have got one vote out right this year. I'm either a week early or a week late on my vote out. I have a decent score, all things considered, but I cannot for the life of me pick who's going home. So having said all that, I think I'm going to vote Rick this week unless everybody else changes my mind. I honestly don't have a clue. It's like, listen to what I say and then pick the opposite because you'll probably be right. All right, till next time, everybody. We'll see you.
Thanks, Pat.
All right, Pat. I am not the only one who still says, dude.
Okay. Ozzy was so apologetic. So was Emily in their exit interviews. He can't believe that he didn't play it. He said, when I was saying all that stuff to Aubrey, I was absolutely going to play the Idol. And if you reframe it from that perspective, yes, he's playing it, then doing that jury management isn't such a bad idea. But somehow, and he still doesn't completely understand it, he shifted his mindset and left his trust with Joe and Rizzo and went with a mental play.
They don't think I need to use it.
Instinctual
I don't
play.
want to be,
Yeah. Don't want to betray my alliance. Yeah.
It's like,
Save it.
Ozzy, baby.
He's still pretty ripped up about it, too. Emily was really funny. She said, I played awfully, especially in the beginning of the season. I don't know. I don't have a good excuse. I was just really bad. So everybody who's saying she was really bad, she agrees with you. And she said she's sorry.
Well, and you don't always know how you're being perceived. Sometimes you don't even know how you're acting or how it's viewed, or none of that stuff.
She said she was watching this season and going, I would vote me out.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Like,
what was I doing? How come I can't do this right? Yeah.
But yeah, I love it when you get to see things back and go, I don't know what I was thinking.
Very self-deprecating, and she knew what position she was in. She knew she was pretty much drawing dead. She said she had just a little inkling of hope, and you can see that when the votes are coming in, and she beams up with a smile, and then she realizes, oh, there's an extra vote in play. I'm done. I'm cooked.
Yeah. Oops.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks for that alternative view, Pat. I think I understand the sense of your disgruntlement now that you've enlightened us with your JSFL perspective.
It does change. I was noticing the discussion when I was posting the recap, and people were saying things, and I thought, it's all about what happened with their JSFL scores with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, this.
I remember Shahin talking about that. He had to step away for a while. It was messing with him.
Yeah, it makes it more stressful.
Yeah.
Oh, which I find very cute. So.
Yep, good stuff. Thanks again, Pat. Next up, we got an email from Crystal in Santa Rosa, California. Hello, everyone. Wow, that was a doozy. Wasn't expecting the double elimination, although I didn't think he had a real chance of winning with his utter codependency on Sari. I still always enjoy watching Ozzy, and he was truly blindsided and hurt by the vote. Probably the most stunned face since James and Eric that I can remember. He sounded okay in his interviews, though, so I hope he works through it and comes out an even better Survivor player. He mentioned on another podcast that he would enjoy Australian Survivor. He was saying that on a lot of his interviews because it's longer, and I couldn't agree more that it would be a good fit for him. I just finished season 12 of the Aussie show, and it was absolutely fantastic. Talk about strategist. Made my head hurt sometimes. As for Emily, although I do like her, her sloppy gameplay got her in the end. She also seemed very self-aware in her exit interviews. So if she were to ever get asked again, I think we would see a different style. Well, she said she doesn't want to play again, and she's not sure she could play differently. MVP would have to go to Sari again for her sly maneuvering, and I was also impressed again with Rizzo. He did give thought to exactly what Sari was hoping he would do, but chose to make a move that would serve him best. I respect that, and I suspect she will too.
Yeah, I did too.
When they debrief. Joe. He's my USB, and I'm really forgetting why. Shaping up to be a no vote finalist, and no one will be surprised. Okay, this may sound naive, but I felt the Rick dance moves were too staged.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, they absolutely were. It was like he did a whole bunch of times, hoping that at least
Even
one of them would get
wake
shown.
Up was like, yeah, nobody believes you woke up like that.
Yeah. Okay, way too staged, and I didn't feel it was authentic. Also, is he the first player to actually wear a tie so often? it kind of creeps me out. He definitely did that before in his previous one, but it was all part of his reporter shtick. Aubrey's still landing flat, and as shocking as it may sound for me to say this, I think people see her as even more unapproachable than Savannah in season 49. Mean girl vibes? Bored girl vibes? I don't like it. Lastly, Tiffany and Jonathan are steady players that I wish didn't dislike each other. They have no chemistry, but I'm still holding out hope they will have a meeting of the minds and do something wild. That's it for my wacky thoughts and predictions. Looking forward to hearing if anyone else felt as sad about Ozzy. Thanks, Crystal. I think a lot of people felt sad about Ozzy. That was a tragedy. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Oh, Ozzy, 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 Ozzy. How could you? Hi, everybody. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California with my feedback for episode 11, and I am shooketh. Oh, Ozzy, it's season 50. There was 5 of you to vote in the smallest little tribes. Your girl Cerie told you over and over, play your idol. You should have known better. You can't get comfortable in Survivor because that's when you get voted out. I am torn on this episode because that was so horribly sad and so horribly underplayed. The things I liked that Aubrey kind of woke up and started playing this episode. That was nice to see. I was super happy that Cerie can't be fooled. Emily tried so hard, but Cerie had clocked it. I loved Cerie's face during the tribal. She was so darn serious. She was just, I'm not going out. It's not going to be me. I had picked Emily in my feedback last week. I had surmised that she would be the one to go out because she just doesn't have a lot of allies left. She only had Rick, and Rick is way down low as well. I thought Emily, it was going to be her time to go. But when there started to be grumblings that it could be Cerie, there was no way I could put a vote out point on her. I mean, seriously, Joanne and Stacy, if God himself came down from the mountain and said, Rebecca, here is a spoiler, Cerie will be voted out tonight, I still wouldn't put a vote out point on Cerie because she is the queen. She is my girl. Joanne, you and I feel very much the same about this woman. She is incredible. And again, like I've said, I think she is so poised to win, or whoever takes her out should absolutely be the winner. Okay, my USV Joe, I think you've turned into a bit of a goat. I think you're going to be in the final because I think they're going to take you because nobody's going to vote for you. If my USB's in the final, I will not be voting for him to win. I'd be voting for him to come in like third. Rick Devens, I remain loving you. I hope you can stick around for a while. I'm a little worried about you next week. People want to get you out, especially Joe, which is, somebody called it the will they won't the relationship of the season. Joe is so bothered by Rick. I find it funny. I think Rizzo made the right move in not telling Ozzy to play his idol because he needs to be Cerie's number one. Rizzo is playing a very good game. I was kind of giggling at Jonathan going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on the beaches. It was interesting. Hated the twist. Do not break them down into tribes of 4 to vote 2 people out. Please stop doing this. Tiffany, playing a great game. I love how she's insinuating herself with Cerie. Okay, predictions. I think Rick definitely could be going out soon. He does not have an idol, and he is not liked by everybody. I'm still wishy-washy about Aubrey. I know I'm glad she finally woke up and made a big move, but I don't want her to win. I want Cerie to win. I liked it and I didn't like it. Very sad to see Ozzy leave. Very happy to see Emily leave. Very happy to get a vote off point. Did not see any of the twists coming, but I keep putting myself on a blackout so things don't get spoiled for me. I think that's all I got. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy. I'm going to go bike Mount Tam tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from TitoBurrito.
Hello, Joanne, Stacy, and all of you other fellow Survivor fans out there. This is TitoBurrito calling from Philadelphia this time. And I haven't chimed in this season yet because at each sway and swing, I didn't want to be hyperbolic about how I felt. But I'll say overall, I'm going to say this is a good season. overall, the new things that they've been implementing into the game have actually not been good. Like I say, an average, they'll say below 5. I'll say a 4 out of 10 average for any of the twists that we've gotten. And then it's really just been the players carrying the season while we go through all of these things that we didn't ask for that they keep telling us we asked for. Very 2026 United States coded. But I do have to say, after watching this, that's what you get, Ozzy. You continue to put your foot in your mouth. This is not the first time that you've gone around and told everyone way too much or put not only your game in jeopardy, but all of your allies' games in jeopardy. So I don't really fault Rizzo for not helping, because at that point, now Rizzo's in trouble if Ozzy makes it, because then they would know who spilled the beans. Good on Sari for tapping into the signs and figuring out, hey, it's time to play this second vote. And I literally did jump for joy when Tiffany won, and I'm pumping my fingers there. But when they did the playback, it was true. Her feet were all sorts of completely on that platform. So you win some, you lose some. I'm still hoping that the season, by the time we get to the final 5, doesn't have any more ick left in terms of the little twists that we're getting, and that we just continue on the path towards a great ending of season 50. So I'll leave it at that before I ramble on about all the things from the past episodes. But hopefully everyone is having a good weekend, having a happy and safe time out there, whatever you're doing. You're traveling or staying at home and minding your business and not spending money. So that's it for me. Tito Burrito, out.
Excellent. Thanks, Tito.
I can't believe that watching that, we counted it. It was like 8 seconds.
Almost 8 that she kept both feet down.
Yeah, I can't believe she didn't realize that was,
It's
her
to
lifting
imagine.
was that delayed.
And then when you're waiting to hear back from whatever it was Jeff was checking on, she's got a totally different demeanor.
Yeah, I thought, she knows it's coming.
I think she might know that she did something. So I wonder how that's going to affect everyone else's view of her.
Yeah, I know.
Is the takeaway you cheated or that you made a mistake?
Yeah. Or did you just lose track? What? I mean, it could happen in the moment, but it's like it's very sus.
Yes, there you go. You're hip. Look at you. Good job. Thanks, Tito. Next up, we got an email from Christiana in Massachusetts.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. I wasn't able to send in a voice note this week, but wanted to shoot over some feedback about this exciting episode.
Excellent.
First off, may life never find me at 500 Hypocrisy Hill.
That seems like the survivor prayer right now. Yeah.
Because, of course, then I'll be a hypocrite, which is one of the least favorite human characteristics. And 2, then I'll have to spend time with Joe, which doesn't seem like a good time. I don't know what game he thinks he's playing, but he's delusional about what being on Survivor requires and labeling people's character based on what they do within the game. Of course, within reason. I also find it very off-putting. I was so nervous during Tribal Council that we were going to get an anticlimactic double boot with Sari and Ozzy in one episode. Fortunately, Sari was able to do what Ozzy apparently cannot, and that's read people and situations. I am so glad Sari used the extra vote, but I fear without Ozzy, her path is much more complicated. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Ozzy, I didn't have strong feelings about him one way or the other coming into the season, but I really enjoyed watching him play, and I'm bummed it's been cut short. I cannot believe he didn't play the idol, but at the same time, he truly has no one to blame but himself. Talking to Aubrey like she's already voted out, not even pretending to strategize with her. That was such poor play. I almost don't feel bad for him. That being said, though, he's certainly not the first or last person to be blindsided, even with an idol, and I found his reaction to be a little annoying. I do think it was genuine that he was so very sad about it, and from what I've heard in exit press, he thinks about it to this day. So, Ozzy, wherever you are, I hope you can come to peace with your game and your survivor journey, because from this season, you have gained a fan in me. That's all for this week. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Bye. All right. Thanks, Christiana. Up next, we have a call from Lori.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Lori calling from Southwest Florida with feedback from the latest episode. I sort of enjoyed it, but always not happy to see one of my favorites. And of course, that is one of my favorites. I actually named my dog after him, but glad Suri was safe. It seems like that was the plan to do the 2-2-2 voting. So I'm just worried now for her for next week. She's my winner pick, and I love her, but things are not looking good. But with Suri, you never know. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. I wasn't really fond of the splitting into two small tribes, and I wish they wouldn't do that, but it seems like that's part of the new era, so I guess we just have to live with it. Anyway, again, enjoying the season so much. We're getting down to the wire. Still not sure what's going to end up happening. Will Joe continue to be so seemingly stubborn about whatever he views as being truthful and honest, but doesn't really seem to be that way? I guess just everyone else is supposed to be that way. Again, thanks for all you do. Can't wait to hear what everybody else has to say. Bye.
Great job. Thanks, Lori.
I would like to know Joe's reaction to watching the thing, when he sees it on TV and what Suri's saying and how she's managed him.
I can almost guarantee you he knows how to play it off in a fun way.
Oh, sure.
That he's jovial about it.
Well, and he can be funny. I like the funny Joe.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't change how he approaches the game, I don't think, since this is the second time he's come into it with that same frame of mind. Good stuff. Thanks, Lori. Next up, we've got a call from Samantha.
This is Samantha, a.k.a. Survivor Rocks from Texas. And in the news, Wednesday at 7 here in the Lone Star State, it's going to get shooketh as Rick Devens celebrates. Rizzo calls the challenge, and Tiffany looks solid as she usually does during challenges. Now, I don't think that she did that on purpose. It was just one of those things that just happens. Sorry, Tiffany. Jonathan pulls off an impressive win, and the castaways split into 4 with 2 tribal councils looming. We were not expecting that at all, and we loved it. Jonathan gets the steps in, and I was starting to worry for Suri. But I didn't think that Emily could pull a fast one, because who's that stupid to believe Devens would give us Idol away or not even play it, even though he's flashy and fun. Bye-bye, Emily. If Suri does get voted out, the person that succeeds at that will win Survivor if they are still at the end. Now, Aubrey and Jonathan are impressing me the most. Ozzy, what were you thinking? You got yourself voted out with a Billie Eilish souvenir that I wouldn't mind having. Just in, Rizzo puts a knife in Ozzy's back. Now, it's not Rizzo's fault at all, because Ozzy basically tells Aubrey she's not in his alliance and she's going to the jury, and Rizzo is not his number one and blows up Rizzo's game. Now, I don't blame Rizzo at all, because it's, self-defense. Ozzy, you got cocky, you got arrogant, and I didn't want to see him go just yet. But he blew up his own game. And Tiffany moves up Suri's ladder with Oscar gone. Maybe Tiffany will become Suri's number one. And just in, at 8:30 Central Texas time, this episode didn't disappoint, and it delivered once more. And we couldn't stop talking about it.
Yeah, we've been chattering about it the whole time since, too.
Yep.
On a rewatch and a rewatch. Good deal. Thanks, Samantha. Next up, we got an email from Liam in New York's beautiful Hudson Valley. Hi, Joanne, Stacy, and fellow Survivor fans. I wanted to start off by saying that one of the wonderful things about this community and this season is how much we all seem to agree on what a great season it is. There are so many things in the world that divide us. Listening to the podcast reminds me of one place where we all seem to be mostly on the same page. And that's the fact that we are loving this season and most of the episodes. A couple things I wanted to discuss. First off, being Rizzo. I am very happy that the edit has shifted for him and that I have disliked him less as the season has gone along. But I think that has to do with the fact that we are not seeing these confessionals where he declares himself as a great player. That's certainly a part of it. This is heavily Ed influenced, everyone's perspective on him here. The reports that come in from the interviews aren't as flattering. I'll just say it that way.
Okay.
Thank God I've not heard the phrase Riz God in a number of weeks. You just made me say it, Liam. Speaking of Rizzo, he loves to declare that he is a fantastic player, but it is interesting to look at the dichotomy of Rizzo's game and Devin's game. The difference is that Rizzo only talks a good game. He makes these declarative statements in the confessionals where he pounds his chest. He tries to create TV moments only through his words, but not his actions. That's pretty much how Ozzy described him too. Devin's, on the other hand, creates TV moments through his actions. I can understand why some people might find Devin's annoying. He's a bit of a ham, but the joy that he brings to the show is infectious. His moves at Tribal Council have left me pumping my fist in the air, and I come away from these episodes thinking that they are some of the best Tribal Councils of all time. Rizzo, on the other hand, despite what he thinks about himself, seems to be a mid-level player at best who has managed to do the same thing in both seasons. Parlay a relationship with a stronger player and holding on to an idol to get him further in the game. Even if he gets to the final Tribal Council, I can't imagine anyone voting for him. Next, I wanted to talk about poor Ozzy. The interesting thing about this episode was it showed what a mediocre player he was without Sari there to hold his hand, and it makes it clear that he has survived to this point only because of her. It also shows how bad his own instincts are. Ozzy would agree with you. He definitely did in the exit interviews. Joanne, you have already noted that he was paid back for his hubris, trying to play to the jury in advance of Aubrey becoming a member. Yes, Ozzy is great at the physical aspect of the game, but after playing 5 times, at least in my book, he makes it clear that he just does not have the strategic smarts for this game, which is a shame because he is so enjoyable to watch, and I can understand why so many people cheer for him. Speaking of Ozzy and his one-dimensional play, I wanted to mention what seems to be the clear theme for much of this season, and that's that we are watching a mini version of Survivor Brains versus Brawn. There's a clear divide in the skill set of the Brawn players who are only playing a one-dimensional game, while the Brain players are playing multi-dimensional ones, not that it has meant success all the time. If we had to give a name to the season, I would go for Survivor 50, good people versus good players. Lastly, although I, like many of us, am cheering for Sari, I'm fascinated to see the spell she casts on the players around her and how she manages to hide her great gameplay in plain sight. I'm not a fan of the Traitors, but I did go and watch the first season recently only because I heard that Sari played in that season. Between her past games on Survivor and the way she played the Traitors as a stone-cold killer, I am amazed that although people acknowledge Sari to be the greatest player never to win, she manages to get far in every season of Survivor. It is fascinating to watch the spells she casts on everyone around her. I can't wait to see what's coming as we get closer to the finale after so many mediocre seasons. Season 47 being the exception, it's great to finally have a season that reminds us why we love this game so much. Couldn't agree more. Thanks, Liam. Up next, we got a call from Tara.
Hi, everyone. This is Tara in New York, checking in after a night that definitely left me shooketh. I watched with my friend Sarah again this week, and for the first time all season, we were amazed to find out we were actually rooting for the same thing to happen. Since she had Emily as her vote out, and I desperately just wanted Suri to be safe. She also had a pretty good time laughing at me because I spent the last half of the episode grabbing her arm and burying my face in it every time something happened. So we had a really great time watching. That being said, of course, Jeff just had to find a way to sneak in another one of these terrible tribe splits. Although I don't think it was quite as bad as the Blood Moon, I still really disliked it for all the usual reasons. These tiny groups leave players no room to maneuver and actually play the game. I actually kind of enjoyed this new power broker twist, though. I wasn't thrilled that it was Jonathan that got all the power, but since Jeff insists on these splits, it did add an interesting new element to the game. I hope in the future, though, they maybe do it at like a final 11 or 13 instead. Moving on, I absolutely have to mention Joe. Season 48 was the first season I actually got people to watch along with me, and I've always had a very big bone to pick with Joe because I feel like he kind of ruined it, and that was their first season. I cannot tell you how deeply satisfying it is to hear Sari call him out for living at 500 Hypocrisy Hill. It's pretty funny that those bad people, Rick and Emily, were the real ones to stay loyal this week too. But of course, the most excitement came from the scramble and the votes. I've got to give Emily big props for her plan to try to save herself. She was just no match for Sari. I'm not 100% sure, but I think Sari may have pulled off the most successful play of an extra vote in the history of the show. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful to watch. And then there was Ozzy. When he first started talking to Aubrey, I thought he was going to offer her a final 3 deal, hoping to vote out Joe instead. Yeah. But wow, was I wrong. Just like Andy in 47, he got way too cocky, and without Sari there, he destroyed his whole game. I was screaming at my TV. And what made it the worst was hearing him actually say he was going to take Sari to the end. It's devastating. Still, I enjoyed Ozzy a lot more this season than I have in the past, so I really hope he's proud of the game he played. As for next week, after looking at the title and the photos that CBS released, I have a wild theory that is 1,000,000% wishful thinking, but maybe not impossible. I hope Sari wins immunity this week and goes on to take out Jonathan. Like I said, wishful thinking, but hey, how amazing would that be? That's about it for me. Thank you so much, Joanne and Stacy, as always, for everything you do, and can't wait to hear from everybody else. Have a great week.
That's fun to imagine. I don't see it happening, but that would be cool. Yeah. Good
well,
stuff.
You said yourself earlier today, Sari could win this one.
Yeah, there are certain challenges where everybody is maybe has a chance, an improved chance, yes, just by the nature of the challenge. So
yes,
it's technically possible. I just think it's unlikely. She doesn't have patience for some things too.
That's little faith.
There we go. Don't challenge or second guess Sari. Thanks, Tara. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. I'm finally back into the groove. We watched the episode on Thursday night, but I will tell you this. Too late, because on Thursday morning, I was there at the gym, finishing on my workout on the treadmill for just like 10 minutes. I'd do the treadmill at the end, 10 or 15 minutes at the end of the workout. I looked up at the row of TVs, and I just happened to see the current conversation with the latest eliminated from Survivor. And then I saw a glimpse of Ozzy standing there looking for all the world, like he was standing there and had just had his torch snuffed. So I looked away. A couple minutes later, I looked back up, and they're still talking about Survivor. I thought if we were at the point where it's not in the mainstream morning talk media. But then in that second instant, they had a picture of it's kind of a side-by-side of the anchor talking to Emily. And I thought, I guess there could be a couple of different ways this could go. One is that Ozzy was instrumental in a vote out, or he played his idol, and then I thought, that's like, because I didn't know it was a double elimination, so I said, okay, maybe Emily was part of the vote out, or are they be talking to her? So I was just like, I'm not going to overthink it, I'm going to watch the show. And to their credit, they had me going by the end. I was pretty sure Emily, especially the revote, I was pretty sure Emily was a goner. But they kind of had me going with Ozzy. I was like, maybe Ozzy has a chance here. Except, I had to teach my kids. This was a teaching moment. Ozzy did this to himself. Mm-hmm. He voted himself out. I don't know if it was ego. I don't know if he was just lackadaisical, whatever it was. He just wasn't thinking clearly. If he played the idol, totally different game. He might have even been in the final 3. And he knew it, but he knew it too late. Oh, I was so disappointed. Listen, I like Ozzy, as a person, I don't know, but as a player, I've always liked him. And the kids, this was their first time watching Ozzy. They didn't even know how exciting he was back when he was young, and like a fish in the water and a bird in the air and a monkey up in the tree and all the things. But they were bummed, but they didn't even have the background in the history. And I was like, oh, Ozzy. I stood up and walked away and then did something else with the computer. I don't know. Forget it. You did this to yourself, Ozzy. But at this point, honestly, I still like where Jonathan is. I don't know that he can win. I think he could make it to the final 4 at least, and maybe even 3. But I'm really liking Sari. The fact that she's still there, I mean, she's always been great. I know Joanne's going to be happy to hear this, but she's always been great. She just had some like bad turns and stuff, but my gosh, she's planting ideas in their dreams or something. She's communicating to Ozzy in his sleep, and he's still not following through. I actually really liked the clarification at the challenge. I think that Tiffany was a good sport about it, and I don't think she did it on purpose. I think she's just in the zone. She's concentrating so hard on getting her balance. She didn't realize her foot was up in the timing, and I'm sure there's a lot of things going on, but she took it well. Jonathan, I was just glad to see, was in the last second of, oh no, Jonathan was so close. So it's a good thing that he held out for just 1 or 2 more seconds. I thought the Phoenix dance was funny, but I think back in the day when I was not a gym kind of guy, I probably wouldn't have thought it was funny, but go figure. Emily, I think, outstayed her run like way too long. So I'm glad she was a good sport about it. And I'm glad she fought. I'm glad she tried. We'll see what happens. I think that Suri and Jonathan are my top picks at this point. Not that the other ones don't have a real good chance. I think Aubrey is really playing to win, and Devin too. He's scratching and clawing. But everyone have a good weekend, and I cannot wait for next episode. I have been putting in picks. They haven't been great, but I'll be making the effort and following through. Talk to you later. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Drew. Oh, the tragedy of Ozzy. And I love the way Drew said it. He voted himself off.
Yeah, he did.
I am extremely unwaveringly not wanting to give Aubrey any credit.
Okay.
She's going to take credit.
She gets credit for
not giving
doing her best to save herself.
Yeah.
You go, girl.
But truly, like Drew said,
Ozzy did it to himself.
Ozzy voted himself out.
Yes.
Yes, the tragedy.
That's just the truth. So
good stuff. Thanks, Drew. Next up, we got an email from Matt and Summer in East Tennessee.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. We have had a couple of crazy weeks and didn't get to our feedback, but we're back at it now. What a string of episodes we've had to enjoy and be bummed out over simultaneously in the last 3 weeks. We were both on the edge of our seats as time ran out, literally and figuratively, for Christian in his challenge. He'd really grown on us over this pre and regular season. Mm-hmm. We hated to see him go. Stephanie's vote out was another disappointment, but we didn't think she would be able to put together a long strategic run given the strong cast she was up against and her continued reliance on the physical game. But it's still hard to see one of our faves sent to the jury. I was impressed with most everyone's gameplay this episode. Jonathan's work with Boston Rob is really showing.
Yeah.
Aubrey is showing some of her old fire and resourcefulness, and Tiffany showed good performance on the challenge itself and even better restraint on the reversal. She is shaping up to be a really good player, and hope we get to see more of her in future seasons. Our favorite sequence, however, had to be Suri clocking Joe's home address on the island, and her discussion with Tiffany on advanced Joe management. We really liked the structure of the reward with Jonathan practicing shuttle diplomacy between the two mini tribes, but did not like the return of the mini tribe format this late in the game. Oh well, not like that is going to change anytime soon or ever. This week's vote out was the saddest of the season, we thought. Ozzy showed a lot of growth and development since his first outing 20 years ago, and for a time it looked like he was playing a more strategic game and not relying on luck and challenge wins to get through. We were speechless when he ended up going home with an idol in his pocket. There may be a life lesson there for all of us. If you're hearing hints from everyone around you and you have a dream on how to react to those hints, do what the universe is telling you. Emily was a much more predictable vote out. While she did show some good strategic insights throughout the game, her pattern of undermining everyone who confided in her and her lack of success in challenges ended up sending her home. I have listened to some post-episode interviews with her, and there's quite a contrast between the composed, polished, reflective Emily in the real world and who she was on the island, and she is aware of that. Mm-hmm. So on the next week's predictions, we both feel like Devins is about to run out of luck, but would be really excited if he finds yet another way to push on.
Yeah.
We think it's too late for the castaways to get rid of Suri, and if Rizzo is as close to her as they are acting, he is probably safe too. That may put the heat on Joe and Jonathan if they don't win an immunity reward. As far as final three, two players we really don't want to see there are Joe and Rizzo. However, the most likely final three to us is Suri, Rizzo, and Joe. An alternate reality could be Aubrey, Devins, and Rizzo. This is the part of the season where our predictive powers always seem to evaporate.
What a description. I like that.
Thanks for all you do, and look forward to what the other superfans have to say. All right. Thanks, Matt and Summer. Up next, we have a call from David.
So, man, I'm ready to play this idol. I don't want to have the Billie Eilish boomerang souvenir. Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's David in Pittsburgh, and Ozzy. What a number of colossal mistakes he made in this episode. For the past couple episodes, so many were coming after him. So why would he let his guard down now? Oh, right. Suri wasn't there to tell him what to do. And when his team had the perfect opportunity to just get rid of Aubrey, not cause any problems, and then he goes and has that long conversation with her where he lays out his entire plan for the rest of the game. I was so confused. I didn't know what was going on until I listened to your feedback. And Stacy, you mentioned it, and that it was jury management. I didn't catch that watching it the first time around. I did catch it watching it the second time around. So what a major mistake he made to underestimate anyone that is his opponent, especially anyone who's played this game before. And as for Aubrey, she's coming out of hiding. I've been waiting for her to make some moves so far. I don't know if this is going to get her to stay in longer, but she certainly saved herself last night. I did feel bad for him because I thought he was playing a really good game with a lot of help from Suri throughout this season. But boy, if anybody shot themselves in the foot, it was Ozzy. Okay, so with the other tribal council, I was a little confused. So there were 5 people voting, and Suri played her extra vote on the first round. So when they went to vote again, I think there were 6 votes, although they didn't need it because 3 votes went for Emily and only 2 for Suri. But did Suri get to have her extra vote the second time around? That's like getting 2 extra votes. Also, once again, I was confused. So Ozzy gave Suri the extra vote. So what does Suri win when she did the coconut challenge? I can't remember. Did she get immunity for that one tribal council? I kept thinking she got the extra vote during the coconut challenge, and it wasn't. That's obviously not correct. Right now, my prediction for the next tribal council is that Rick is the one really coming in hot and heavy for Suri, voting for her both times. And I think if she gets a chance, it's going to be his time to leave. Unless, as Tiffany says, Rizzo's idol is getting heavier and heavier. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, David. So Suri was immune because she wasn't chosen to be in one of the pairs. And then what she won with the coconut challenge on Exile Island was the ability to come back and vote in that tribal council, which was another great example of coming back and telling Ozzy how to play so that it all went the way that she wanted in that perspective. But that's what she won in the challenge. Good stuff. Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hi, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Kim from North Carolina. Ozzy got what he deserved. I hope that all his talking doesn't hurt Suri's game, because for me, this season is about Suri making it to the final 3 and winning. I'm interested to see if they show us how Suri and Rizzo talk about Ozzy leaving. I think once she finds out how he was indiscriminately talking to everyone, that Rizzo will be able to convince her that he did the right thing. My dream for the next episode is that there's a challenge that Suri can win, like maybe a brain game. I'll probably put Joe or Jonathan to go just because that's what I want, but I'll definitely listen to the listener feedback and let that help me make my decision. Have a great week, everybody. Bye. Thanks for all you do.
Excellent. Thanks, Kim. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Scary Mary in New Jersey. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Greetings, Survivor fans. It's Scary. I mean Mary. in New Jersey. And you know what I think is really scary? Having a nightmare that predicts your fate, having the means to change that outcome, and choosing to do nothing. Didn't anybody ever encourage Ozzy to follow his dreams? Oh, Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy. What were you thinking, man? Not using the idol was bad enough, but blabbing your whole journey to Aubrey? What did you think was going to happen? I'm just shaking my head. Rizzo did the right thing, and I think Sari will understand it once she hears what happens. But if he's smart, and he is, this may be the time for Rizzo to break ranks with Sari and rally the others to target Sari and Tiff. After all, Rizzo wasn't part of Sari's in-game strategy, at least according to Ozzy. I lost 2 points this week, having Sari as the vote out and Ozzy as safe. But I was planning with a full tribal council in mind, strategy thwarted by the small group councils. Can someone check the definition of merged for me, please? Good one. Oh, and my husband asked me to add that Devins is his USB. Scott said he doesn't think he'll win, but he's been awfully fun to watch. He predicts Rick is the easy vote out this time. I'm not so sure. Someone has to realize how dangerous it will be to allow Sari to get to the finals, and I'm guessing that someone will be my girl Aubrey. Thanks for all you do and for listening to my musings. You're the best. Thank you, Mary. We enjoyed that.
I saw that, Mary, when she said, my girl Aubrey, and all I could see is Aubrey saying, she misspelled my name. Because she
funny.
put an E too.
Yeah.
That's what Aubrey said.
The way Stephanie did.
Yeah, she misspelled my name.
It's a Jersey thing. That's what that is. All right, thanks, Mary. Next up, we got a call from Johnny.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. It's Johnny from Wisconsin calling here. That was an episode, but I would say the result was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. To me, besides Joe, we lost our 2 worst players left still in the game. Well, at least to me. I mean, especially with how bouncing around Emily always is and how she just can't hold her own pieces of information together without spilling into people she doesn't need to, was just annoying to watch, so I'm fine with her going here. Even though it was only because Sari had the extra vote, which is fun, actually. I'm glad that Sari was able to do that and save herself, but now Rick Devins is in a very interesting position. But he always plays well when he's desperate, right? Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy. Wow. You really couldn't survive one tribal without Sari? Just one? All you had to... Oh, I cannot believe it. But it just proves he already confessed himself that without Sari, he would have made terrible moves. Coach and Chrissy may still be here right now if Sari didn't come and save the day for him earlier in the season. So it's just crazy how much help he really needed this year to keep going. The way things are heading right now, I'm almost thinking Jonathan might have the best shot at getting a final 3 seat. His name isn't coming up on Next Time on Survivor. He seems to not be too big of a threat for anybody to think, oh, this guy's a challenge beast. He probably could. He just won the last one. So I don't know. He's just quietly getting his way on some things and seems to be surviving okay. And again, I've mentioned this before, but with Rizzo and Devins and Sari all in the game, I think one of them's going to end up fighting in fire at least, because they need to redeem themselves for losing in fire in their seasons. That would be really fun to watch. As for the challenge thing, I'm really glad they did correct that. I was really pulling for Tiffany. I was excited when Tiffany won. I knew it. This is going to be great. And then they were able to show the film. Wow, that was so interesting that they were able to show us that and that little element of the game, but they kind of had to with the way Jeff officiated it himself. Whenever I'm officiating something or rule keeping or banking for some game, I always feel terribly embarrassed if I ever make a call like that. So hopefully Jeff didn't feel too bad about himself for too long after that one. All right. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks, Johnny. You know, it's so egregious if you go back and watch the challenge and start counting as soon as Jeff says to lift their feet to go to the 1 foot. It's even worse than it was watching it the first time.
Yeah.
She's been doing.
So, you know,
she's been doing these weekly Q&A. Yeah, for
she
so long.
She lifted like right at just right at the 8 seconds.
Yeah. And
just before,
as Jonathan was falling, she lifts her foot. Yeah. And when you count it out and you go, well, that is a significant amount of time to keep both feet down.
Yeah.
As Jeff's calling everyone else falling to the sides and both her feet are still down. She's been doing a weekly Q&A Tiffany has that she puts out on her YouTube channel. I'm really curious to hear what she has to say about that this week, as she's had time to reflect on it too. Thanks, Johnny. Next up, we got a call from Joe.
In week 7, I asked the question, isn't this about the time that Ozzy normally shoots himself in the foot? And here we are in week 11 when Siri can't take the loaded gun from Ozzy's foot. His getting voted out was totally avoidable by him. He was his own worst enemy. Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all Survivor fans. This is Joe from Huntersville with some observations and questions. I like the immunity challenge, where Tiff initially wins, then is disqualified. I was going to argue her case. Then I went back and noticed that she waited until Rizzo and Ozzy have already fallen off their dock, and Joe was just about to fall off himself. And then she finally lifts her foot. All during the Ozzy Tribal Council, could you see Joe giving Ozzy the stink eye? But Jeff didn't call him out on that. I wonder why. At that same council, after Ozzy gets voted out, why was Aubrey the only one saying, I'm sorry? If he would have played his idol, she was the next person to go. So it was either him or her. My namesake, Joe, I'm kind of baffled about why he gets put off when other people are playing the game. He was so upset when Devin created the fake idol to save himself. He was also upset that Devin also flipped the coin. Why did he even come back to season 50 if he didn't want to play the game with others? So going forward, I see there are 3 alliances. The Outcast, consisting of Aubrey and Rick, the quote-unquote Honesty Alliance with Joe and Jonathan and Tiffany, and then there's Siri and Rizzo, who are also aligned with the Honesty group. I really hope that next week the Outcasts work with Siri and Rizzo to get out Jonathan. All in all, I really like the last 3 episodes. I hope they keep it up. I look forward to what everyone else has to say on this. That's all I have. Till next time, keep it safe. This is Joe, signing off.
Fantastic. Thanks, Joe. Next up, we got an email from Shahin in Australia.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hope everything is well with you and the rest of the Survivor fans. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to send feedback in the last few weeks, but if I had, the Christian vote-off episode would have not gone down well. The last 3 weeks in totality have had too much meddling from production. Between Christian's impossible position, the coin flip, and this power broker advantage, I don't see much wiggle room for players to really play. All in the hands of the fans. Hey, Jeff? Yeah, right. Irrespective of this week's crazy advantage, I thought it was a good episode. Stacy, you took me down this rabbit hole a month ago regarding legacy. And I think it's a good time to bring it up again, as we've seen one of the great Survivor players leave the show for probably the last time. What does Ozzy's legacy look like? He arguably started like a house on fire in his first season, was played in Micronesia, stocks rose in South Pacific again before his legacy took a small hit in Game Changers. Where does this land? Based on the sheer number of times played alone, I think he retains legendary status, but he really embodies Icarus for me. Flew too close to the sun after getting caught in his 3 failed seasons.
Great description.
For a well-seasoned player, too many times he had shown amateur hour moments, and the jury management chat with Aubrey plus the idol in the pocket were emblematic of that. I think the biggest shame of all with regards to legacy is not being the highest individual immunity winner. It just feels fitting for Ozzy to have it. I feel almost uncomfortable with Rob retaining it because Ozzy feels so representative of immunity challenges. I know they're not the same. But do we remember his Redemption Island run in South Pacific,
Incredible.
getting voted out 3 separate times and winning 6 consecutive duels as a result? Legendary player.
Yep, that solidified it alone.
Yep. Regarding the code phrase discussion, I have to side with Joanne. I think Jonathan would have cottoned on to whatever Cerie tried, not because she isn't intelligent and crafty, but because the mechanics of delivering it would have altered Jonathan. Alerted Jonathan, whichever way she tried. I just think this was one of the times when Cerie couldn't influence an outcome and was a great contrast for us, where most of the season she has. If she can win it from here, it could really make it an all-time win, and I'm cheering for her. If we talk legacy, there is no one more deserving of a win. I agree. Finally, I wonder how many times a tribe or individual immunity challenge have been repeated because the judges or standards and practices have been something.
Have seen something.
Can't read.
It's okay.
It would be crazy if this is the first after 25 years based on probability alone.
Yeah, it's not. They've had to rerun challenges. And there's all kinds of things, even where the players challenge the outcomes, where they have to relook at things.
That's me done. Thanks for all you do. Cheers. All right. Cheers, Shahin.
I like how Shahin referenced to the legacy and how incredible he was in South Pacific. In one of his exit interviews I was watching, he mentioned that he tore his meniscus on day 1 in that supplies challenge when he jumped off real high when they were getting the key, and he just jumped down. And so he played this whole season with a busted knee. That's wild. I mean, he still did as good as he did, but we didn't get to see 100% Ozzy because he wrecked it.
Well,
and he said
came
it had
in with a back injury already.
Right. He said that he was just now starting to get around better after the surgery he had after he got back.
Yeah,
that's
he had to have his meniscus repaired.
Yeah, that's just a little more insight into that.
Oh, look, baby, a rabbit is out there. A rabbit.
Okay, Joanne has a squirrel moment. We're moving on. Thanks, Shaheen. Next up, we got a call from Justin.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor super fans. It's Justin from Michigan. So I really enjoyed this episode again. I see some people think it's the best of the season. I wouldn't go that far, but I did enjoy it. I felt bad for Ozzy, but it's kind of one of those situations where he gets what he gets. You got to play your idol in that situation with that small of a tribe. I know you really trusted Joe and Rizzo, but this was the best time to use your idol, man. And you didn't have Cerie there to bounce things off of and insulate you. So I felt bad for him, though he was super somber the whole time after he got blindsided. But he didn't learn from his previous games. As much as he was trying to play like a different person, he still had some of those same mistakes socially. But this twist, it's fine as a one-off. As long as they don't do this too often, I guess it's okay. I did see some people think it's a little overpowered, and I would agree. I think one way they could have tweaked it is, okay, Jonathan goes to both tribals, but he only gets to vote at one of them. So he has to choose which one to vote at. And both sides may be counting on his vote, but only one group will get it. So it would add a little bit more of a strategy, a little bit of will he, won't he vote. It still gives him power. He still has immunity and one vote, but he doesn't get to vote at both. So I think that would be one way to tweak this twist if they ever do it again. And then the other thing with this twist is it's ironic that they brought up the Cerie getting advantaged out in Game Changers, because this could have happened again. If the rock draw would have went Cerie, Rick, Rizzo, Ozzy, and Jonathan as the group, Rick, Rizzo, Ozzy all have idols, Jonathan has individual immunity, and Cerie goes out by default.
Yep.
So it could have happened again if the rock draw would have went that way. So just ironic that got brought up again. The other thing, I didn't know, maybe I missed it. I don't know how they decided the order of the tribal council, but it actually seems like it could have mattered, because if Rizzo sees Cerie on the jury instead of Emily, does he still vote out Ozzy? So, or does he tell Ozzy, play your idol, man? Because I don't think Rizzo wants to lose both Suri and Ozzy at this point in the game. Right. So there was a little bit of an advantage being that second group and knowing who was on the jury. So I didn't know if I just missed it in the episode or if that was never explained. Curious if you have any information on that. For the next episode, top 3 to win it are Suri, Devins, and Aubrey. That'd be who I'd be most happy with winning the season. So even if it's one of those 3, at least we'll have 2 of them in the finale. So I think I'm going to go with Devins. I think they'd be smart to try to take Suri out, but I think it will probably fall on Devins at this point. So looking forward to what everyone else has to say.
Excellent. Thanks, Justin. No, I didn't see anything that suggested how they decided the order. Good stuff. Next up, we got a call from Jill.
Hi, Joe and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill in the Outback here. I said earlier in the season that they've changed Survivor in Australia to a streaming platform and not just the TV channel. And so that means that we get it at the same time you watch it. And I get a kick out of that. And I was sitting like 11:30 in the morning. It starts here and I can watch it when you're watching it. But it also means that I have to wait hours and hours until we can get the podcast come out. Because I would always used to watch it at 7:30 on a Thursday night and then be able to listen to the podcast straight away. So there's swings and roundabouts to being able to watch it at the right time now. The first chance I had, I put down Rizzo to be voted out next week because I just can't imagine Suri being happy that Ozzy's been voted out and that Rizzo had something to do with it. Poor Ozzy looked like a cartoon character as he slumped his shoulders and almost dragged his bag. I was almost expecting him to drop his bottom lip and start boo-hooing. He was the master of his own demise. I don't know what he thought he was thinking, telling Aubrey his whole plan. It's like he's never watched the show at all. And, yeah, let's face it, he was never going to be beating Suri if his plan had come to fruition. I like the twist with the immunity winner being able to vote on both tribal councils this week. I thought that was good. Although I'm sure there's going to be all the ones that are up in arms about anything that the producers do. I had to feel for Suri for not being able to orchestrate what she wanted to do this week, though. Not sure what Rick can do next week to avoid being voted out. If it's not Rizzo, I think Rick's next on the chopping block. I'm the highest ranked person in the JSFL with Rick for 24 points. So my theory is that I can nail these last couple of weeks and I'm going to win JSFL. It's a long shot, but it just might work. Is that right that there's only 2 more weeks to go? Or is it 3? Gosh, this whole season has sort of snuck up on me. That'll do me for now, I reckon. Thanks so much, Joanne and Stacey. Love the podcast. Love the feedback show. I look forward to it every week. Happy days, everyone. Bye.
Happy days. Thanks, Jill. Yeah, unfortunately, just 2 more, and we will be done.
Yeah. This week will be the penultimate, and then the finale the next week.
There we go. Thanks again, Jill. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacey, boy, did I pick the wrong weeks to miss submitting feedback. Even though I wasn't a fan of some of the twist details, those were some of the strongest episodes in years. Truth be told, I had some scheduled surgery the morning after Christian's ousting. I wish I could have gone back in time and had it during the days of Banu fever instead. The anesthesia and meds would have helped ease my pain of viewing that. But it is what it is. Anyway,
favorite saying.
The surgery went well. Excellent. I'm home and I'm recovering. I'm not up to my usual exhaustive creative process yet, but I wanted to stop by to check in and raise a few points. My other observation, Suri shouldn't scoff at Joe's domicile on Hypocrisy Hill. That's a very desirable residential address in some political circles. He could probably make a pretty penny if he ever decided to move. The Jimmy Fallon twist really did Christian dirty. The only thing it didn't have him do was wear a kick me sign on his back when he went to vote for himself. The real name of the Mr. Beast advantage should have been the Mr. Beast Super Shot in the Dark advantage. But that would have given most of the twist away and let the players compensate. Can't have that. Good on the producers, but isn't it sad that Survivor does a better job of getting replay right than the NFL does? Ozzy went full-on Bond villain monologue when he spilled his plans to Aubrey. Survivor 50 keeps loosening rules like you can't vote for yourself. People who tie in tribal Council votes don't vote in the revote, and the boomerang idol can only be used on yourself. I'm convinced that there's a typo in the season's name. It should have read, in the hands of the fan, and that fan is Jeff Probst. Good one. Next time, the final 7. Will Rizzo finally have to play an idol? Will Cerie's web start unraveling without Ozzy? Will Joe finally sell that house and own his game? I can't wait for Wednesday. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job.
We're glad you're getting better, buddy.
Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
And that is exactly why, if you have a dream on Survivor, make sure you listen to it. Hey everybody, it's Jeremiah here with my feedback for this week's episode, where I'm sure everyone will be talking about poor Ozzy shooting himself in the foot. Oh my gosh, that was so brutal. Of course, none of this would have happened without this twist of splitting them up into 2 groups and having them vote out 2 separate people. Because let's be honest, Cirie would have not let this happen. And I'm sure that will be the other focus on most people's thoughts about this episode. Conceptually, again, and it's an interesting idea on how to have 2 separate votes. I do think it's interesting, especially with the idea of having the one person being in between the 2 groups and also getting a chance to vote with them. I thought it definitely brings some interesting gameplay for sure. But the problem for me and many other people, I'm sure I'm speaking to the choir for you all, is that it's so late in the game. We just want to see these players have their opportunities to work their magic and not have too much interference, because this just brings a lot more luck again into the game. But I get it. It's season 50. They're trying to do wild and big things. They have to get rid of a lot of people. Although, can we say something? I really feel like since they knew they had 24 players going to season, why couldn't we just had more double boots early? Exactly. Oh, well, that's just a side frustration of mine. So I'm not going to beat up on Ozzy any more than everybody else is going to do. Obviously, he made a huge mistake, starting with, of course, talking to Aubrey and spilling his guts about everything, and then not playing the idol when it was clearly the best time in the world to play the idol. Now, of course, all this worked out really good for Aubrey, who had a very good episode, her saving herself pretty awesome. And I'm going to put it in the books, y'all. I think we are for sure looking at an Aubrey win, which is exciting for me because I have her for 24 points. I cannot remember the last time I had a 24-point winner, because I think the combination of what we've seen from her recently and the fact that now Cirie is missing her number 1, because now it's full alarm for Cirie. I really am worried about her not making it through the next episode, which we assume would probably be another double boot unless we're going into the finale with 6. That, of course, is possible, because at this point, I feel like when you look at next week's episode, we are probably going to either have a Rick Devens or Cirie boot. Maybe both of them if we're doing a double boot. Who knows what other kind of crazy twist they'll have to get rid of 2 people. Although I really hope Cirie does not get bounced out by a silly twist again. So that's my bold prediction. It's either going to be Cirie or Rick. I know, not that big of a prediction. And that's it for me. You all take care until next time. This is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Excellent. Thanks, Jeremiah. Yeah, can you imagine what it would have been like if it was just all of them together? That could have been just as interesting too, because Cirie probably would have played her extra vote in the first one before they knew that they were going to have to vote someone else out, or she wouldn't necessarily know when to play her extra vote.
Yep.
And she would have been able to get to Ozzy to tell him say the code phrase. Tara had sent in a PS, and in one of the interviews, or a couple of them, he got asked that question, what was the code word? And he said it was something about the classic old dogs being able to learn new things. I still think she could have worked that in somehow with what she had told Jonathan. But anyway, she would have clearly been able to give him the heads up to play. There's still lots of possibility if they had been together, but all had to do a double vote together. Definitely agree with Jeremiah on that one. Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California, and here are my thoughts on Survivor 50, Episode 11. Back at camp, Rizzo is looking skinny and tired. Aubrey is happy when other people put targets on their own backs rather than on her. And Joe can't believe how classless Rick Devens was. putting on that showy move of risking his life in the game and betting it all on a coin flip. Shame on him for putting his life on the line in the game to double the prize money from 1 to 2 million. I really enjoyed watching the reactions of the several people as he tried to make his case for whatever he was trying to make his case for. I'm still not quite sure. And I still get a thrill from watching the opening credits. I think they chose a great cast this season. When I have found myself wanting to throw my remote at the TV over some weird twist or something or other, it is definitely not because of who is playing the game. They have all been excellent, and I've enjoyed watching everybody. And I can't believe there's only 2 episodes left. I love watching Emily and Devin's interaction so much. I like that Emily fought for her life in the game and gave it everything she had. Her plan to suggest that Devins would give his immunity idol up to her was a very long shot, but it really was all that she had, and she did her very best to sell it. The only problem was that Sari wasn't going to buy it, but good for her for trying. And at the immunity challenge, Emily's comments made me laugh so much when Jeff was saying, "You come to Fiji for the beautiful sky and beautiful weather." And then Emily pipes in, "and some mild torture." And then when Jonathan talks about his fat feet, Emily says, "They're not fat, they're girthy." She was just being so Emily, and she was just so on fire. And back at camp, I don't know what Ozzy was doing. I mean, I know what Ozzy was doing, but he just shouldn't have been doing it. And Aubrey just took all of that information that he gave her and ran with it. I'm telling you, Aubrey always starts slow and sloppy. Her early game is never good, but post-merge, she just takes off. I mean, she was the dictionary definition of never give up. So good on her for flipping that vote. And I noticed in these beach segments that Rizzo is so skinny. You can see the angle of his jawbone all the way up to his ear. I'm actually worried about how thin he is. I'm concerned for his health. I mean, I know he's fine. He survived the season, but I wonder what his health was like there after the season ended. And finally, at Tribal Council, it was so hard to watch Ozzy's vote out. I feel so bad for him. There really is nothing more that I can say. It's easy to say, he should have played the idol, and that's obvious, but Ozzy has always been that kind of player. I don't know if it's that he's too trusting or what it is, but his exit made me very sad. I wanted him to make it to the end. As for Emily, she saw the writing on the wall and she went out swinging, and I was very happy to see the fight in her. I have to say that her exit interviews are some of the most enjoyable that I've listened to all season. She's just so well-spoken and genuine. She doesn't seem to ever want to play Survivor again, but I hope she changes her mind and that we see her again someday. I'd like to see her play again. Anyway, that's it for me. I can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. Till next week.
You could bring Emily back with Francesca. Oh, good stuff. Thanks, Jen.
All right.
Where do you think we are here? You think Cerie's going to be able to find a way through in this next episode?
I am not going to contemplate anything else.
Rizzo can't play his idol for her, and he's the only one who has anything at this point.
Yep.
Can only play it for himself.
Game ain't over.
And if he plays it for himself, then...
An idol left the game.
Yeah.
Another one could come back.
That's true. Or advantages.
Yep.
They've been holding back.
Yeah. So...
Making them one-shots, so they just go off at that tribal immediately.
Definitely. I think there'll be something else. So, who knows?
Might see an idol and an advantage, huh?
And I still can't get over the fact that it sounded, what she was saying to Jonathan in the next on just felt kind of like almost a threat to me. Like,
that would seem like she was desperate.
Everything.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine that she's going to be too upset with Rizzo because once he tells Cirie that Ozzy exposed her extra vote. He didn't know she was going to have to play it, but that could have really hurt her in the game. So he did end up saving her with that extra vote, but
yeah, it was ironic, wasn't it, that Ozzy saved Cirie and gave her a longer game.
He killed himself in the game, but he saved Cirie with what he gave her. So, so thanks for that, Ozzy.
I had no idea it would have such an impact, but that was pretty cool the way it worked out.
Yes, it did. Mm-hmm. And she'll really owe him if she did win.
Yeah, certainly she'll give him some credit, but also she kept him there multiple times longer, I think, than he did for her.
She won't feel she owes him anything, no. But thanks for that.
Yeah, the most obvious one, like a lot of people are saying, is to think that Devins is the target.
Yeah.
You got to think that's very likely.
I would definitely, I think, want Rick or Aubrey out.
Oh, to help protect Cherie.
Because they're so after her.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I think Devins would actually be fine with having Joe at the end with him in a final 3. Because you don't want someone that bitter in the jury. It's actually in your best interest to have Joe there being a no-vote goat.
But Joe's not going to let Rick get there if he can help it.
Yeah, but he hasn't
Rick
really...
might take Joe, but Joe wouldn't take Rick.
We haven't been given a sense that Joe is actually doing anything other than begrudgingly changing his vote to go with the majority, because he's yet to be able to get his way on any vote.
Yeah.
But he could get his revenge on Devins this week for being such a gaudy, what did he describe him as? Disgusting player.
Oh, whatever.
All right, good stuff.
Didn't pay too much attention to that.
How about a JSFL update?
All right. Hope Grimm is now in first place with 56 points. 9 USBs were lost for Emily and 17 for Ozzy. 75 people lost a safe point for Emily and 127 for Ozzy.
Ooh, how's in that count?
120 people earned a vote-off point for Emily and 11 for Ozzy. As for the side challengers, Rebecca's in first with 53. With 51, Anderson, 49, Jeremiah, 48, Parker, 47, Stacy, 44, Johnny, 41, Lisa Ray, 39, Justin, and 37, Drew.
All right, there we go. We want to say a big thank you to everybody who took time to send in your thoughts and predictions this week. We loved it. Good job. And we want to say a special thanks to Tara for her donation. We greatly appreciate your support of the podcast, and that helps with our operational costs. Thank you so much.
And if you're playing in JSFL, remember to get your picks in for one person who's voted out, as far as we know, and 4 people you think will still be in the game at the end of the episode. And we also want to wish all the mothers out there a very happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day. We'll be back on Wednesday with our recap.
All right, have a good one.